What up, everybody? Scuff D here, and wow, this is the first video I'm doing after the recent 2.0 update, but I gotta say, I feel like I need to do a completely different video to go over all the stuff that's involved there, all the fun things I'm kind of looking forward to do. I was going to do this video 2 weeks ago, and summertime and life kind of, excuse me, kind of got in the way. Took a lot of my time, but we're doing a Calas Typhon deck video. That's right, Calas Typhon. Why? Because he's been around for a long time. I really don't have a passion for the Death Guard. Garrow's a cool character. Mortarion is really one of the more interesting Primarch characters, in all honesty. But the playstyle of the Death Guard has never been something I've fully enjoyed. However, when they got their recent change back in January, I played them a lot more. I was playing Typhon just for frontline challenge decks. And this is mostly, well, I mean, there's like, I would probably say like half of this is like just playing frontline and healing with Typhon. And then I actually put some thought into the cards and put some changes in here. And I feel pretty good about that. That's pretty nice. And when we're all said and done here, and I show you the replays of the deck that I've been using, I'm going to tell you what you can do to tweak it, make it a little bit more cancer. Because Calas Typhon likes cancer. And I hear that ranked players like cancer too. So I figure, what the heck? Let's just go ahead and give you some ideas. But first, let's take a look at some replays. So Iron Hands got an update recently too. Santar kind of coming to the fold. You're looking like, hey, that's some old art. That's some old cards. What are they doing in your deck? You'll see. Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of Santars practice. I know recently we just got this recent adjustment to the knights no longer being able to use their weapons if they're stunned, which is very nice. But in this instance here, Santar is, he's got a decent ability. He's got the relentless troops. A lot of the deck that I was utilizing and is a little bit more on the high end cost. It's not huge, but it's a late game. It's a late bloomer. Typhon games. Let me tell you something about Typhon games. They're fantastic, really, when you know what you're doing. I put this on Jubok because either he can kill my bike or he can almost kill Jubok, and whatever he doesn't kill, I can heal. He decided to bounce instead. Bounce Jubok, go for it. That's actually not a bad play in terms of him bouncing when I put my counterattack on, because he'll be able to get rid of Jubok my next turn, but I'm still getting more for my money. So I'm okay with that. But I'm going to throw him a little curve and put a big 5 health Astartes on the board. I've had games kind of go back to it, Typhon being a late bloomer, where I've had Typhon down to like 3-4 health, and the opponent, looking pretty comfortable, but with the resilience of the Death Guard, ending the game almost at full health, and complete opposite swing. The difference is you just have got to build your deck right for it, and you've got to know how hard and how far you can push. Don't be afraid to not use your ability sometimes. In this instance here, I had to get rid of Bargus because he could theoretically play something that reduce the Deus Ex, right, to remove poison and then give them Survivor. And I don't want to give him the opportunity to do that. So instead, I'm going to attack with the 6, heal up a little bit. He can go for Jubok. He can almost take out the 6 drop. He's going to turtle up some, get rid of Jubok. That's fine. I've got more health coming out on the board as I need it. We'll throw down Malkiel. He won't be able to target him, which is nice. Malkiel is a very good addition to Death Guard in general, but for Typhon especially, because it gives a little extra reach for him to play troops and use his ability in the same turn. So, but yeah, so I know Iron Hands got their recent little tweak. People are playing Santar a little bit. Solar Auxilla are hot to trot. I think now that all the Solar Auxiliary cards have been in the shop recently, everybody can run them in everything. The only card I'm missing from the new expansion is the Drakian, the Chaos Legendary card, and that's okay. That's okay. That's gonna happen. That card is gonna be mine as long as it's not a Primarch or a Legendary Warlord. Those cards are harder to get. Feeling okay about this, actually, believe it or not. I got with what I've got in hand. I've got his hard removal stolen. I've got some poison. Destroy Plague with Phosphox Bomb is basically a 5 energy destroy and draw a card. It's basically outflank for 2 cards plus a card draw. You could use it more if I had Death Cloud in the deck. I opted to exclude Death Cloud. However, there have been a couple games where I have poisoned a couple units with abilities. I don't bank on that. I'm banking on it for the one-time use and then letting my other cards do the trick. Imperial Reaper does a very good trick here. Calas Typhon, very strong rally ability. Although the fact that he doesn't have shield, that was the recent change that Calas Typhon underwent, that actually kind of works to my benefit here. I'm willing to take it. I'm willing to take it and do as much damage and heal my troops as I can because I'm not sure which one he's going to destroy. So if I can do 4 and he's going to heal 2, then that's okay. And I'm actually was hoping he'd get Malkiel, but that's all right. He got Malkiel with the winner instead, and I still get my nice 714. I'll take it. I'll take it. I think he's kind of sensing the end tides, and that's it. Sometimes when it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. But he had 3 cards in hand. My growing hand plus Mortarian's Resolve. I was sitting pretty there. So I'm going to take a look at the deck here that I have. I think it's got a couple tweaks to it since that game. Yeah, there's a couple in here. So Typhon's ability, heal 2 to your units. Okay, he's got the Destroyer Plague, which we talked about. That's all of his units, including himself, which is very nice. It's not offensive, but if you get offensive troops enough and they have high enough health, they can stay around for a very long time. When we get to the end of the video, I'll point out some newer troops that I think you may be familiar with that you can consider using with Typhon. But I almost forgot about the Demoralized Militia. These guys are a great 2-drop. Their backlash is not fantastic for you if your opponent gets a draw card. But if you play these first turn against some warlords who cannot deal 3 damage, you can then attack for 3, heal for 2, and they still stays at 3/3. In addition, because he has the low initiative here, he's going to have a higher chance to gain the counterattack. That is going to make a big difference in some matchups, whether that is against Lucretia, which is also a low initiative, so you kind of have you have a better chance, but still 50-50. Or maybe it's against, Cypher, Lord Cypher running the Corn's favorite, right? And that's always a good way to ignore that option, and then you've got a lot of frontline troops to go with it. But Malkiel, as I said, very important for him. This is a good turn 1 drop because it gives you an additional energy that lets you play with stuff that you need. I've got 2 abandoned supplies in here because I have a decent amount of 5-cost cards, 5+ cards. I'm going to draw, whether it's first wave, it's not fantastic, but it plays a very valuable role. Osgard, again, this is a great card. If I could fit a second one in here, I would, mainly for the remove a poison. But because I've got 2 Purity Wills in here, which also do the same thing, plus I've eliminated it down to 1 Osgard. I actually keep Holgarg around because he's useful. And late games, believe it or not, if you combo Holgarg with a Sorak Bike, you get a 3/4 Sorak Bike that is also poisonous. So that's kind of nice. That's a nice little combo. You just got to be mindful of when you're placing your troops, how to place them. I've had some games where I get abandoned supplies and I have Holgarg on turn 2. He doesn't necessarily pump anything, but having a 6/5 on turn 2 is always a good thing. Favorite of Nurgle. Now this card I've always been on the fence of. It was decent, but it comes with stat bonuses plus a Mark of Chaos, which now is a stat bonus on top of stat bonuses. With a faction that has high stats in general, and this can go on any friendly troop, which means my vehicles can gain Favorite of Nurgle. It's not just limited to Astartes. So that's nice to throw on a Sorak bike. That's nice to throw on a Halden Tal, Imperial Reaper if I really want to get into it. Or just throw it on a Plague Marine. I've got one Plague Marine in here for just such a thing, because then it becomes, at the very least, a 5... I think it's a 5/11. Yeah, it becomes a 5/11 that heals fully every turn, and it has unstoppable. Like that's the lowest pump that you could get, I think. No, yeah, because then you could get more health if you got poisonous. So, I mean, yeah, I'll take it. And then I had in here for a while. I just recently took out, but I had in Grolgor, the 7-drop that gives you a front line plus can turn into a Plague Marine. But I've tweaked a few cards. Like I said, I put in Demoralized Militia in here. I would probably put in a second Demoralized Militia, quite frankly. Um, so Demoralized Militia, like I said, that could be two of. I think one is good. Two might be too much of a risk. I've got Crucial Choice in here because right now Crucial Choice is in everything. Phospix Bomb, this feels like a natural, again, as I said, with Calas's Death Plague, Destroyer Plague rather. It's a 5 energy hard removal. But even if you can't destroy a troop, if you can poison them, Typhon and the Death Guard in general are resilient enough often to survive the one turn that your opponent is going to get, and they still lose that troop. So it's a good thing to have. It is. Plague Marine, that's what, like I said, I've been using that, just the one of Moturk Squad. This is just just a 4 energy curve drop. This is a card that can quickly be replaced. I'm not recommending it. It's fun. Sometimes you get him with the mark of Nurgle, and he sticks around for a long time. Sometimes you get him with the mark of Khorne, and then he's a 4/5. At the very least, maybe he can become a 3/6 unstoppable. The reason why I like him more than just like some other 2-drop is because for his stats, with the Mark of Chaos, getting additional stats, he's in a good position to survive long enough for me to put a Favorite of Nurgle on it, giving him even more stats and ideally a second Mark of Chaos. So he's a very good candidate for a Favorite of Nurgle. He doesn't have to be. As I said, I mean, they can go on a vehicle, it can go on the Plague Marine, but he's a good candidate for it, and he has the possibility of sticking around long enough, which is very nice. And then kind of just the old cut and dry staple with Endurance there. I don't think there's really much else to say on the 5 drops. Purity of Will is just a fantastic card. Combined with Typhon's ability, you can heal Typhon for 4 every turn, let alone all of your other troops that you will have on the board. Mortarian's Resolve is a decent card for the end game. Doesn't end the game, but it buys you the time. Halden Tal, I throw this out here more as it's a big fat front line that can deal with the board. It's a high cost. If you get it with the abandoned supplies, it's great. But if you don't, your opponent deals with it, and then they still have to deal with your 2 Imperial Reapers. This isn't a perfect deck list. You can make this as you want to. I think we'll take a look at a couple games. I'm going to give you some recommendations of some stuff that I think you could very easily fit into a Typhon deck. But the themes here: high health troops that can be healed, or that can heal themselves, or that have the resilience. That's really going to double down on what Typhon's ability does. That's really going to give you. It's one thing for Typhon to heal himself to every turn, but when you're healing 2 or 3 troops backed up to full health every turn, that's where he gets dangerous. So then what if you're playing, let's say a fast deck, right? Because we had a lot of high cost cards here. We're going to show off a Khorne. This is a very common matchup. Khornes and Angrons and everything aggro. Well, this is a good hand, actually. I like having the abandoned supplies here. You could say just use your ability every turn. That's a possibility. You can definitely use your ability every turn in this matchup and be up 2. But with my deck, I like to have some options. I like to have those early options, really, because I can use this ability every turn at 4 energy, 5 energy. But if I've got troops to go along with it, then I'm doing really good. Having the Zagor Veterans come out as a 4/4, a 4/5 with the counterattack, that's nice. And I can have them attack and heal with Typhon. Not only am I healing them, but then I would be healing Typhon too. Got the Purity of Will if I want to attack as well on the next turn. If my frontline troop survives, he may be up a health, but I've really got some good options here. Maybe not double Phosphex. One Phosphex is enough. He's really leaning into it. He's banking hard on some gamble. It was a bit of a surprise, to be honest with you, but that's okay. He's got the ping. Well, if all else fails, just do the abandoned and tank it up. Because as I said, we've got the longevity on our side of Typhon. He's going to hit us for a lot, no doubt about it. We're up 10. I'm surprised he's running with these guys. So that works out pretty well for me. We can drop Fet first wave if we wanted to. Though I might do Purity of Will. I'm trying to remember how this game went specifically. Still, this is gonna even the field here, right here. So right now we're up 7. We'll take 6. It's back up to an even game. Buy ourselves some time. That's really all first wave does is buy time. It's bought himself some time, which is nice. So it's a good thing I didn't straight up attack into a troop, because then you still have a 5/5 and I would be low health options. However, I've got Purity of Will. I've got Ujioj to throw out if I want to, sack my own boys. We've got the Gizelk front line if we want to go that way. I think with 6 energy, I think Purity of Will and Ujioj, we can tank everything in here and come up looking pretty healthy. And he may have a 5/5, but then Typhon's going to be looking pretty nice, and he's going to have to deal with Ujioj before he gets rid of anything else. But you don't want to overextend yourself, especially against a Karn or an aggro burst deck. If I don't have to attack, I'm not going to. Just going to increase that range here. And that's not going to go well for him, I don't think. We get it. If we top deck Endurance, it's really bad. We don't have to top deck Endurance either, I can throw this guy into that. I can use my ability. This is going to go off. I'm just going to get healthier every turn. I'm going up in 4 health every turn. And he has to get rid of Purity of Will. The great thing about Purity of Will is you can have 2 of them in your deck, so it's even better than that. And we're getting late game options. Once we get into late game, we've got those Reapers. I know he could have Conqueror. He could definitely have some stuff that throws out things. We're still up 8 health. We've got another first wave that we could throw out if we really want to. Sorak Bikes, starting at 4 energy, you can hit with the Sorak and then heal them and heal your Warlord as well, which is always fun. And we'll just use my ability just to heal up and extend that gap even further. So we were on even footing. Now I'm 10 health up. Even though he's got World Eater potential to do crazy burst damage, we're getting into that end game. This is a nice little combo here. He's done some healing, and sadly the pings aren't in his favor today. He's keeping it close. But like I said, Typhon, the Death Guard in general, they've got their endurance, they've got their resilience. I've got a full hand here. He's got 2 cards. So we'll be good to go. And rather than attack here, risk like another, um, you know, speeders and the sweep in advance, we'll just go ahead and extend our health and the health of our troops as much as we possibly can. Because if we keep this at 4 health, then he would have to attack with both the troop and Karn into this. He chose not to, which is interesting that that was his choice. But I'm okay with that. Because we'll just drop him down 3 and go up 3. And then just for the kicker, if he wants to try to double attack with like a sweeping advance and a speeder, it's going to be the end for him. And he's got the burst, but he doesn't have enough. You see, had I attacked, or had I not attacked the speeder, he possibly could have been able to use his ability. Gone for the ping. Didn't work out that way. Is it a long game? Yes. The one thing about Typhon games is they are long games. And that's why I don't play Typhon a whole bunch. And we'll show off one more here. This one is against Lorgar, which is just a fun troop on troop. Lorgar has got a very careful way to get to his reckoning that you want to play around, obviously. So Typhon really can let you do that by healing your troops up and keeping them out of the range of Destiny's hand, which can deny Lorgar his demons, that he wants to switch into Reckoning. This was an earlier build, I think, when I still had Grolger in the deck, which I no longer do, as I said. But I like to put that 4/5 out there, just in case he bounces, the hand. I've still got him down to 1 health, so he's not going to be able to get extra use out of it. Then he doesn't, which is nice. So, okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. Goes all in. Cost him a lot to get rid of that 1 troop. I'll take it. So, Hulgurk squad, again, coming out strong. 4/5 for 4. Okay, that's not bad. So even if he brings in a 3/3 demon, guess what? I still have 4/4. Or I had a 4/4 that cost him everything to get rid of that troop. Very nice. We've got endurance. We'll save that. Now see, what we're banking on here is we're banking on him trying to play his destiny hand. It's a little bit of a gamble. He doesn't have it. So I'm going to be able to follow up with everything and take out everything with the endurance, as long as he doesn't get survivor on this troop. Yes. Sorry, not enough. Let's go ahead and wipe his board out. That's the old telltale sign, by the way, too. When the Meldunes are face striking your warlord at 6 energy, you know the endurance is coming. Just embrace it. Embrace it. Just know that it's going to happen, and that that they had to keep those little pesky Meldunes alive. It's a strong troop to have. Do I have answers? Unfortunately, I don't. I have to bank on my answers coming out later. But the important thing is here, with Lorgar only having a small hand and his ability to create some demon hosts, he's really vulnerable unless he hits ward here and survivor, in which case being able to poison him, and he's got the ward on, it's going to be next to impossible. And I think, if I recall correctly, he really makes a mistake. I don't know if it's this turn or the next turn. He makes a mistake in one of them. Because really he shouldn't have done that. He should have just gone straight for my warlord. And I think the fact that he didn't cost him, because 2 turns, 13, 26, you're good. You're unstoppable. But when I see him do that, it makes me think that, okay, maybe he isn't thinking that way. Maybe he's thinking, I've got to get rid of the big threat. So if I've got to get rid of the big threat, then I'll just put more threats on the board and try to pressure him into getting rid of those threats. I might pepper Lorgar with 1s and 2s, but if he's only getting rid of 1 troop and cleaving 2, then those 1s and 2s are going to add up. Because this would have been the game right here. 15 to the 13 that he had earlier, that would have been game. But he's not doing that. See, so he's taking the bait. This some inexperience here, I think, from the 2017 range. I think a more experienced player would have won this game very easily. So as I said, again, I will just continue to, ham out what I can ham out. Use my ability as I can use my ability. Throw out Yu-Gi-Oh! As an extra bait target, plus some extra health range, just in case. And also, I don't like that. I mean, the ability to jam, not doing any damage, but again, yeah. So inexperienced. He could have won this game 2 turns in a row, and I think this part here, whether it's an Imperial Reaper or just 2s and 1s that survive long enough to keep hitting you for 2s and 1s, that's no good. And why not? Let's go ahead and use it. Why not? Because we're not going to use it on anything else. And going back and watching this replay here, though, like, it amazes me. Like, we went from like 22 to 30 health. I might have taken some damage from Cleave here adjacently, but he's starting to get wise. He's like, oh, I can do damage to the troops, but that's not, like, the game is lost. The game has been lost, good sir. Good sir, you have lost this game. Why? Why, I ask? You didn't have to. But I'm not going to waste any more time. I mean, if you can't figure it out, I'm not going to help you. So, yeah. Not sure how that I mean, that, like I said, that should have ended with a more experienced player. I think should have taken advantage of that. Ward is a problem for Typhon, but how do we make Typhon better? How do we make this deck list better? What can go in there? If you don't want to include Death Guard cards, and I don't blame you, I don't think you need to have a lot of Death Guard, quite frankly. As I said, I think Sorak is very handy. Yu-Gi-Oh's for Phosphics, Zaggart veterans are good. You don't need Executors, you don't need Geldrick, you don't need Vengeance, you don't need Bunkers. You can do without Mortarch Squad. These guys are okay, but you can don't pass. You can do without Plague Marine. You can do without Captain Holgard. You can do without Favorite of Nurgle. Although I would recommend keeping that or just putting in a second Osgard. You can get rid of the Gizok Terminators. Ladies and gentlemen, you go past the Death Guard troops is what you do. And we get to the Flavor of the Month Club. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Solar Auxilia. That's right. If you really want to ham it up, you get some Solar Auxilia in your deck. Get some good old Katsuhiro. Katsuhiro in here. This is a solid 3-drop, 2/3 with Survivor that's going to pump up other Solar Auxilias. That makes for a very nice replacement to your Mortarch Squad because you can bring him out earlier. Las Rifle sections, because those are just good in general. And they're 3/3s that you can survive, that you can increase the health with Katsuhiro, that deal damage, that you can increase the health with. Seems like a win-win. Hey, can we go a little bit better than that? You know, like maybe we want some card draw. Maybe we don't want Mortarian's Resolve, or maybe you don't have Mortarian's Resolve. Okay, Strategic reserves it. Go for it. I wouldn't. I mean, you could do Soul's Garrison instead of Holgarg, or instead of where was it? Favorite of Nurgle. It's only going to work for your troops with frontline. But guess what? You got a whole bunch of troops with frontline because you're Death Guard, right? Or you know what? You could do Lord Castellan. Sure, throw one in there as a 4 energy in place of a Plague Marine. Why not? How about Velteris? These guys at 3/4. Okay, that's not bad. A suppressive ability, Vexillarius. Not bad, lowering the cost. Like, you could take out all the Astartes if you really want to. Throw in all that Solar Auxilia. 4/5 frontline for 5 seems a lot better than it almost seems better than the whole first wave. First wave is at least going to give 3 speed bumps versus 1, which can be Melgatord. But if they get pumped up with Katsuhiro and they're a 5/6 on the turn that you play them with, you're good to go. You have to have Marcus Valerius because there's nothing more fun than having troops that you're healing that are also gaining Survivor 1. I don't even think you need to include, all this tasty meat stuff. Ornithop's Barge, maybe, I guess, if in place of a first wave, if you really want to, because Ornithop's Barge now is generating the 45th section as well as the forward section. You could throw that in there. I don't think you need to. But if you want to get rid of Halden Tal or one of your Imperial Reapers and instead put in a Stormhammer, seems like a good way to go about it. So what I'm doing here is I'm upselling Calas Typhon with the flavor of the month. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to play him with the flavor of the month. As I've shown you, my deck list was playing him. These games were after Solar Auxilia was added, and I didn't have Marcus and I didn't have Katsuhiro. But now that I have them, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that for fun because they go in everything right now. And that's not what I'm advocating for, but that's what the people want. They want their Solar Auxilia. They want their cheese on their crackers. And, who am I to deny the people anymore? It's just what it's going to be. So, Calas Typhon. Fun warlord. You don't have to have Solar Auxilia. You can play Death Guard, and you can have a good time doing it. But they are long games. That is one of the downsides. One thing that you have to keep aware of with Calas Typhon is you need to know your opponent. If your opponent is an aggressive player, an aggressive warlord, then you need to be prepared to turtle up. And you need to really not rely on your late game cards because you may not get to the late game. You want to get the most out of your low-cost troops as possible. If your opponent is more of a control player, then you need to press the envelope and maybe not sit back so much. Typhon has a lot of resilience. Don't be afraid to throw him into a troop, even a large attack troop sometimes, if it'll do the job, because you can heal him quite significantly. I have had games where I faced off against like the old Caliban Jaeger combo, the Jaeger bombs, right? Or the Jaeger rapid fire team. And I've had Calas Typhon down to like 3 health, and they're sitting up at 20, and just a little swing around, eliminate the board, heal Typhon, drop whether it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Or an Endurance, and by the end game, Typhon's sitting up at 25, and they're at 0. And I really wish I would have recorded one of those games to share with you, but I didn't. Maybe next time. Maybe when you see it next time, you'll see it with a Solar Auxilia and you'll just shake your head in sadness. That's what I'm doing. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. I got to do another video here probably this week because there's been a lot of updates to go over. I want to get into this stuff. This stuff here. Take a look at it. I really haven't even had a chance. I beat the campaign. I can say that. I beat this campaign. I've got the card back. I slapped that on my Pollux deck because it's fitting. Because if you know anything, you know that Pollux was the reason why they won the Battle of Fall, or they were going to win the Battle of Fall. No deck slots though. Damn. Anyways, that's it for me, guys. Until next time, keep playing Legions. We'll talk to you later.